living in the Himalayas, and do you remember his friend came to visit him? And they went for a long walk, maybe for about 2 to 3 hours. And his friend, looking at the valley, said, "How beautiful it is." But the master did not speak anything. He returned and he said to his friend, "You talk too much. It is better to go back home." My eyes are also looking that, the valley is beautiful. What is the fun of saying that? And he spoke only one sentence. You see that once we realize inside, we know the power of meditation. So that is what you both did. I appreciate it. That is what happens once we have a right knowledge. That is very important. Right knowledge.
We appreciate you.
Huh?
I said we appreciate you.
It's all knowledge coming from our teachers. Knowledge is there. So once we reach to that step, then let us live in the world. Let people know or do not know, who cares? It is not important that the people should know. Now see that, we should earn more money. We'll talk about Terry. So, hello, Terry has come. Very good. So you see that I'm in a hurry for example, to have money. No doubt we need money. So I'm being supported by you guys, so I don't say anything. But we need it. No doubt about it. But now see that if the money becomes our goal of life, and we know the money cannot buy happiness, but still the goal is the money, our goal is the sexual pleasure, our goal is something outside. So where the mind will go back again and again? To the money? To the pleasure? So that is what our master says, that it is not the right knowledge. The right knowledge should be the goal of life is to find my real self and do whatever you want to do outside. So what happens? That is why Master says that we should remember, we should understand the goal of life, we should constantly follow until we reach to the goal. So what is that goal? You wake up in the morning and the word appears but not true. It is settled in that knowledge of the real self. You are communicating, thinking, speaking, working in day-to-day life, even driving your car, but you are settled there. You are settled there. So until then we have to continue our journey. But it's a beautiful, that is the right way. Both Stephen and Sam did. That is beautiful. Terry, keep smiling. Yes. So, anyone wants to share their experiences. So we have to live into that state. And it is 100% possible. It is possible. Once we have a clarity, once we have the right knowledge, then we live and work from that state. This is what the journey of Eastern wisdom is. Leaving aside all the rituals and the rites associated with it, we don't need that in the modern age. We don't need that. In those days, people were not actually aware of, and their intellect was not developed. So the intellect was not developed. So then Master says, okay, follow this ritual. And there are thousands of rituals that also helps us to raise the awareness. So let us, we will start. This is a beautiful verse again. So it says, Atma Ajnanat Jagata. Atma Ajnanat Jagata. When I am not aware of the real self, due to the ignorance, then this word appears true. And when I know real self, I am settled in the real self, then this world appears not true. This is the verse, and then we will, like when I see the snake in the rope, because I'm in ignorance, I don't know. Is there a rope? No, but it appears as a snake. But when I know, then it is only a rope. There is no fear. Now see how to understand this. First point, mind lives in many states that we all are aware. We are not discussing, in Buddhism we say it is the mind that creates the world, and when the mind calms down, that world disappears. So we are not talking of that. We are simply talking a very simple thing. Then in deep sleep, the world outside disappears. In waking and dream, the world appears. That is a very common experience, see that. And in samadhi or in meditation, the mind lives in purified and empty state. See the three points. I am in deep sleep. There is no world. That means the world outside disappears. In a waking state, the world reappears. What happens in meditation? Once we are awakened, the world now appears, but I know it is not true. It is not true. Again, I am repeating and be clear. In deep sleep, there is no world. And what is that world? That world of relationship, of possessions, of wealth, of lot of desires, lot of anxiety, duality and conflict. Everything is gone in deep sleep. So it means the world disappears in sleep, the world reappears in the waking and the dream state. Now ask the question, where this world appears? It happens in the mind. It happens in the mind. My eyes are open and I am seeing you guys. There is a monitor behind, and then I am sitting in the room. The entire world, you see that? The entire world appears in the waking and the waking state. The same world is not there in the sleep. Just see, become aware. Yes, it is not in the sleep. It is there in the waking state. it means it is the problem of the mind, or it is the working of the mind. So whatever Master says, those people who have a wandering and distracting mind, the world and its many relations are seen in the mind: love, hate, pain, pleasure. Because the mind is constantly flickering, wandering from one thought to the other, from one object to the other. So there is a continuity. In that state of the mind says, yes, how can you say the world is not true? So it is happening because of the wandering and the distracted state of the mind. Why it is wandering? Because it has a level of attachment, love and hate relationship at every moment. Oh, here is David, I love. Here is Sam, here is Terry. You see that? The moment we address, that world of relationship appears in many multifold relationship of love, hate, anxiety, pain, pleasure. So the whatever Master says, empty the mind. Now you link that. When you empty the mind, what happens? You see that this world only appears. When you empty the mind, what happens then? All relationship is gone. No father, no mother, no honey, no money, no mind, no me, no mine. We realize our true nature. This is what the Master is saying. Atma ajnanat jagata bhati. The world appears when I am not aware of my real self. The mind comes in between. Mind says, look at the world, this is very real. And the moment I know my real nature, that real self passing through the mind tells the mind, come on, it is because of you, not because of me. Are you getting it? It is because of you, mind, not because of me. Do you see that? Same thing, same example I used to say, the sky is not blue, water is not the waves, the water is not in the mirage. You see that ignorance is gone when I approach the mirage, and when I want to discover whether the water is there or not. Now my mind says there is no water in the mirage. The waves in reality is water. The world outside is actually the real self. The way the water is hidden in the waves, same way these waves are. Behind the waves there is only water. This is what the Master says. Even take from the scientific perspective. What is that scientific perspective? Is it wall? Is it solid? Yes, definitely. Is a glass of water is also a matter. And the air present in this is also a matter. But why I see the difference? I see the difference because the atoms are very close to each other in solid. At a little distance in the water, too far in the gas or the air. Atom is the same. Essential element, that is atom, is the same. So, when I see the solid, is it a delusion? Ask yourself. It is only the configuration of these atoms. Now look at the atom. We say atom consists of many particles, electron, proton, and neutron. And the recent update says that these atoms, these electrons, behaves like the wave. And they have come up with the update in the physics that everything is nothing but energy. only energy. I read somewhere, I forgot the name of that biologist. He's an American. 10 years ago, he said that, the way we say in physics that everything is electromagnetic waves. So he says that my right hand and the left hand differ. It is because of the different movement, two separate movement of electromagnetic waves in these two arms. There is no difference. So they have found one common element, that is energy. We went a step further. Energy cannot be conscious of itself. So who becomes conscious of that energy? I. Who is that I? That is real self. That is real self. See that? So again, just go back to the same thing. Mind makes this world appear, the same mind makes this world disappear. I have to find out what is behind that mind. So the master answers, in ignorance I see this world as real, in wisdom I see the real self as the real. Go back again and again and reflect. There is another way of contemplation and reflection, that in a waking state, think, contemplate, imagine a state of the mind during deep sleep. Just see what happens in deep sleep. What happens? This entire world of love, hate, of relationship, of money and honey, everything is absent in that deep sleep. Mind, can you imagine the deep sleep? You are awake. Your imagination. Now the world disappeared completely. You are still awake. You are still awake. So you are living into that state of awareness and attention, and there is nothing in the mind. Oh, that is what Buddha says, emptiness. That is what Patanjali is saying. Emptying the state of the empty state of the mind reveals our true nature. So where the I, my, me, he, she, it all disappears. All disappears. So you see that we do not disappear. It is only the world outside that appear and disappear. In deep sleep, not there. In waking state, it is there. Let me separate itself from the world. How? When I move into the empty state of the mind. Empty state of the mind. And that takes us to the highest state of meditation. And that is why, if you look at it again, then he gives another example, that in a rope, I see the snake. Is the snake present in the rope? No. Snake is not present in the rope. But I see it. It appears true. Same thing our master says, all our sorrow and pain, duality and a conflict, and all our relations appear in ignorance. When that ignorance is gone, we live into that state of permanent peace and happiness. You see that focus on their mind. That's why the master says, when the mind is wandering, distracted, because of the desire, because of the attachment and detachment, because of the division and the duality, this mind is constantly engaged in the world and claims it is true. It is true. So the result is that if I make my mind clear, empty it, then what happens? Then I see that real self appears, and that real self enters into the mind. It gives me that reality check. Even here and now, become aware. It is the eyes that makes me aware of the form and the color. The ears makes me aware of the different sounds. But ears, I cannot see the name and the form. Eyes, I cannot feel and listen to the sound. The two are totally separate. They are totally apart, and still the mind says, come on, I will build the relationship to make you see the world. See that? The mind behind associates with all the sense organs, with its various objects. And that creates, and then the mind creates a relationship, because the mind is always in a hurry. Mind is always in worry. And what we are doing, when this mind calms down in the state of dispassion, we see that real self here and now. This is what this master is saying. So what we are learning how a higher and the deeper meditation leads me to variety of experiences. Variety of these experiences. So this seeker gives us a clue, an idea, an understanding. When I'm the highest level of a seeker, you see what this highest level of seeker says. What is his experience as he spoke to the master? How wonderful! I am tranquil now, taintless, pure knowledge, transcending the matter. Until now I have been deceived by illusion. That was his first experience. So as we continue the journey, we will find, this is what my experience is. In the last week, what we did, that of the sweetness of a sugar produced from the sugar cane juice, utterly permeating all of the juice distilled from the sugar cane. I, as the real self, is present everywhere. Do I have a living experience that I am present everywhere? Look at the deeper experiences. He is not talking what color I see, what god and goddesses that I see. No. He is not talking of that. So look at the understanding of the higher level of a seeker. Just as the cloth has only the thread, we understood in the fifth experience, the same, this existence is woven from being. Return again, focus on only one thing. Pay your attention on one thing. My eyes are closed and I'm in deep sleep. There is no word. I wake up, my eyes are open, all the sense organs are active. I see this world. So what is the missing point? The missing point is simply the ignorance. What is that ignorance? What appears true is not true. I do not see that. So when I see that, how do I see that? I see it through my awareness. So where the awareness lies? In the mind. Is the mind a perfect instrument to reach to that state of meditation? Yes, if it is empty. know if it is constantly wandering. So the Master says we can achieve that state here and now without understanding, without practice. So why he says without practice? Can I settle my knowledge in the mind at the highest level? And if that is possible, then we can enter into that state. So let us start our practice. Let us start our practice. Eyes are closed. And still we are doing a practice, but in a manner it is a non-practice. Eyes are closed? Yes. You are looking at the body, aware of the body, but we keep that knowledge. The body appears, it is a part of the world. It appears in a waking state, see that. And it disappears in the sleep state. So the body is only in appearance. Whether it is moving, whether it is steady. But for the sake of moving deeper, we keep the body steady. The body and we see what we have been doing. We follow the same way. Look at the neck joint, being there, being there. Why we are doing it? When the mind is clear and empty, free from the distractions. So we want to see, is the mind lives into that state? And it is very easy for us to do that. So you are looking at the neck joint, being there, feeling. What do you feel? Sensation, comfortable, and steadiness. And then mind is looking deeper into the space. The knowledge is backing the mind. What is that knowledge is backing the mind? That this body appears and disappears. When we are attached to the body, nothing happens. That is why very important to have a state of dispassion. Oh. So now you are into the space. Now do this with the neck, shoulder joints. You are there, you feel the sensation, comfortable and steadiness. That also pertains to the body. That also appear and disappear. Okay, then what about the space deeper inside? The infinite space everywhere? Okay, that is okay. Why it is okay? In that space, the world does not appear and we are still awake. Wow, it happens only in the waking state also? Look at it. It happens in the waking state also. Look at the hip joint. So you see, we start. We don't say whether it appears or disappears. We say, let us look at the hip joint. The mind is outside, so obviously the hip joint. Then we feel the sensation, comfortable and steadiness. Okay. And what is after that? We see the space inside. So when we see the space inside, that sensation, comfortable and steadiness, along with the hip joint and the entire body disappears. in the same state, in the same mind, in a higher state of awareness and attention, which is happening here and now, my friend. Look at it. Now take that being carefree also to the higher level. Carefree, free from the cares. Who cares? The mind. When it cares in the waking state, not in the sleep state. Why not in the sleep state? Because the world does not appear in the sleep state. So what we are saying? Remain carefree, even in the waking state. What it means? The mind will say, I, my, me, he, she, it, money, honey, worry. All that is happening in the waking state. But the world appear and disappear. So what should I do? Do nothing. Let me play with the mind. Mind cares and I say, I'm okay. I'm okay. Look at it, so simple, easy. I should not say it is easy also. It is what it is. So not only the thoughts, feeling, images that appear, that come and go, is what we are aware. So we are also aware. We are aware what appears. What appears is not there. It simply appears. Just see it, become aware of it. Even if you become aware of one thought, what is that field of awareness? That it appears, but it is not there. What happens to the mind? With a single point of awareness, the mind drops within, enters into the state of emptiness. What normally you say it's a kind of a blankness at the conscious level. Now in that state, the mind continues to push us to live in ignorance. So you may feel it creates I, me, mine, he, she, it, honey, money, pain, pleasure, duality, conflict. It blame, complain, everything in the waking state appear, sleep state disappear. So appearance and disappearance proves that it does not exist. When the mind lives into that awareness, with a clarity and conviction in the intellect, you are already there. You are already there, and even in the second step of being carefree. Do you see? I always use these steps, but at a different level. Here we are not to do any practice. Here the knowledge rules. Knowledge says it is a snake. Wrong knowledge. because rope is superimposed by a wrong knowledge of snake. Now it is only a rope, so wrong knowledge is gone. What appears as a snake is not true. What appears. So anything that enters into the field of awareness is not there, is not there. What appears in a waking state. So we play with it. But the knowledge is clear. What knowledge is clear? That it is not there. So simply look at the breath. The breath is going in and out. You see, in and out, the second division of the breath. One is, I am aware of the breath. This is how the mind wanders. We are talking of this wandering state of the mind. We are not talking the normal wandering and distracted state. You have a penetration. You are attentive and aware. Now see, the mind is, if I say mind is wandering on the breath, that is, mind is wandering on the breath, that is causing ignorance. What do you mean? What do I mean? See that. Mind says the breath, one point of wandering. Mind says it is moving, second point of wandering. Mind says it is going in and out, another point of wandering. Mind says short in the long breath. See that? Short in the long breath. Then the mind recalls the past memory. Breath is life. Oh, the breath is life. So you see that? And you might have other thoughts pertaining to the breath. Same with the body. Same with any object. Same with your honey and the money. Same with your clothes. In the future verses, these aspects comes in detail. Do you see? A single breath and the mind is still wandering on many aspects, colors of the breath. So the master is talking, this is the wandering state, you forget it. On a whole, the breath appears and disappears. It is not there in the sleep state. It is there in the waking state. Yes, I believe you all are doing regularly. You can have that penetrating awareness. The moment I say Sam, my mind says Sam, this mind fickles, distracted, starts wandering on millions of aspects of Sam. For Western psychology, we say, oh, this is a focus. This guy is focusing on the Sam. No. Even in that focus, my mind wanders on millions and hundreds of aspects of Sam. So my master says, can you live into that state of emptiness? That is what we are doing. By the Patanjali guides, move the mind into the state of emptiness, the knowledge of the real self will be revealed. Here we are showing, why should I empty the mind? It's a question of appearance and disappearance. What is going to disappear? Why should I empty? Two different approaches. But both leads to the same goal. A king invaded another country and caught the king, brought into the court. Minister said, kill him, otherwise he will create problem. The king said he will die his own death. Everyone has to die. Why should I kill? That is the approach. Why should I force my mind to be empty? I know it appears and disappears. Can I live into that awareness of appearance and disappearance? So become aware of the world outside your body. Have a keen awareness of the objects, of the people, of the things, and the articles are there. What does it mean by the keen awareness? And keep that knowledge in the intellect. It is appearing. It appears because of the waking state. It appears. The waking state, the mind continues to wander. It appears because I have yet to know the real self. So you have nothing to do with anything outside. And now look at the body, physical body, from the top of the head to the toes. It is good. Move the mind on the entire body, which appears, you are aware of it. And which disappears in deep sleep, you are aware of that fact in the knowledge. And in that state, when you move the mind from the top of the head to the toes, no problem, experience sensation, relaxation and stillness. Sensation, relaxation and stillness. Does your mind say we have done nothing to relax the body? That is another distraction. That what appears to the mind. When blame, complain, reaction game. So at this moment when it has an association, mind says, okay, I'm feeling good. but we are aware there is an appearance and disappearance. We remember this appear and disappear. Move the mind once again. Appear in experience and disappear in experience. Sometimes it also happens. Your mind is totally focused on something else too far, and you lose as if the awareness of the self. You say it is kind of totally self-absorption. You have those experiences many a times. It is not that we are having any kind of fancy and imagination. Let us, so-called, now see that this is also a kind of wandering mind. I said the word outside, then the body. Now I am saying look at the breath. So if we consider the world as the first unit, the body is the second, breath is the third, so mind is wandering. So the seeker, this highest level of the seeker is explaining this wandering causes ignorance. So we have a knowledge inside in the intellect, we are aware. Okay, but still looking at the breath, what appears? Let me see. Let me see. Appear. In sleep does not appear. In waking state it is appear. Forget about even in the waking state 24/7. We hardly are aware of the breath. We know it by habit, by the past impression, by the memory. So at least, practically, the breath lays in the state of disappearance with a faint idea in the mind that I am alive because of the breath. See that I am using the words carefully to make you aware. Now here, our master in this particular tradition says, you are aware of the breath? Yes. You lose the awareness of the breath? Yes. What is that losing the awareness of the breath? 2 points. The mind is wandering. Second, when the mind is wandering to something else than the breath, during that period there is a disappearance of the breath. See that? Very subtle, but very simple. We follow the practice the way we understand the verse, so that helps us to go deeper. So here it is, what is? You simply maintain awareness. What is that? You are aware of the breath. Mind wanders. You are aware of the wandering mind. Then the mind goes to another object. You are aware of that object. Why? You know they appear and disappear. So it's a different approach than what we are doing on Mondays and Thursdays. So here the understanding is that even if the breath appears and disappears, then what I have to do? Okay, now, it's the same saying, go little deeper than the breath. We see the thoughts, feelings, sensation, images, the content of the mind. So what we see here in this teaching of the Master, mind says the body is also the content of the mind. The entire world is the content of the mind. Why you are saying only the thought, feeling, sensation, images? What appears in the mind is the content of the mind. You are listening to me. Expand your awareness with the knowledge behind it and see, oh, it is there. It is all what appears is the content of the mind. You see why we enter into the ignorance? I see my honey. Oh, how the honey can be a thought, but without the thought of honey, there is no honey. See that? So the approach here is no practice, 100% understanding that the intellect guides the mind. Mind says, I know. Wake-up state is all appearance in the mind will disappear in the sleep. Why should I live into that awareness? Why shouldn't I live into that awareness all the time? See that? We are already doing nothing. We are already doing nothing. If the mind is asking what to do, that will also be appearance in the world. Do you see that point? So that's why I'm saying do nothing. Remain as you are. Do nothing. You see that? Even doing nothing, where? In the world, but that does not appear now. So even saying doing nothing is creating some appearance in the mind. So when we live into that extraordinary awareness and attention, with knowledge that this world appears and disappears, we live into that state of meditation all the time. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. How are you, David and Jerry?
Very different experience. For me, it was very, very peaceful. But I did have thoughts, but there was, like you say, standing on the side of a freeway watching the traffic go by the whole time. There was no emotion, no attachment to any thoughts.
That's good.
And moments, and it went extremely fast.
That's a success. That's wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I am similar, I guess. I definitely had some thoughts. I think I was playing with a literal, like if I see a cactus and I touch it, it's real, right? But so I was playing that. Some literal there. And then I was also, when you were having us bring our attention to our breath, my mind didn't really want to do that. It wanted to be more in the space. And then when you're bringing us to our body, my mind wanted to be in the space again. So I would come to the body, but then I would go right back to the space.
That is beautiful.
A lot of light, a lot of weight.
A lot of light. That's so beautiful. You see, the mind, when it pursues the path of the wisdom, then the mind does not want to stay with what appears. It does not mean that you say to your honey, you appear, but you are not true. It means that is why, these higher journey are told much later. Then you are creating a problem to yourself. Then someone say you have given a loan to someone and you are already then they will say, okay, the money appears, but it is not true. Why should I repay you? So it is not the case that here we are searching the real self. You see, some people distort that, so never do that. Otherwise, how are you, Stephen and Sam?
Real good. I had a very similar experience to both David and Jerry. I had this journey between my mind and my heart, and I had a thought, and I cannot even tell you what any of the thoughts were.
Beautiful.
It was a thought, and then I found myself in this darkness depth in my heart, and then a thought came, and I was back up in my head, and I just recognized it and let it go, and then I was back down in my heart again, and it just the whole meditation. Then it was over. It was extremely quick.
That's so beautiful. Beautiful. How are you, Sam?
I'm really good as well. Definitely a similar experience where I was, my body was definitely felt like it was floating because I was considering what you were saying about the world outside and the real self, and I imagined myself in 20 or 30 different places throughout the meditation here in Arizona and New York and places I've been. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I was kind of floating between, and I could have been anywhere. So
You see that is what is what this master is saying, and seeker is narrating the experience. Pay attention. I refer Sam, so now the rest of the people disappear. Now I say Stephen, so Sam is not there. I'm aware of it, but there is appearance and disappearance. The same thing happens. One thought comes. I was in New York, appear. Now I'm in Arizona, disappear. Then New York disappeared, Arizona appeared. See that? One thought appears, second thought disappear. So can I live into that state of awareness where I see the play of the mind? The play game of appearance and disappearance. The honey came. What is my duty? Let me perform my duty. The honey finished. Done. The mind remains totally empty all the time. And that reflects the real self. That reflects the real self, the true nature. So here we are not pushing the mind to be empty. We are not struggling, nothing. Oh, the New York came into my sight, thank you. I know you will appear and disappear. You see that? You're taking a very easy route, but it demands an extraordinary awareness, insight. What is that extraordinary awareness? It is the empty state of the mind. It is the state of dispassion. It is the state of mindfulness. How are you, Terry?
I am fine. And when I was during the practice, there were a couple of things I wanted to mention because they're just a little different. One time when I saw, a color, like, which to me is a color and a light, is kind of the same thing. It's like the smallest point was like a black dot on top of like the whole space was dark. And then I saw the central, call it purple, I guess. And then in the center of that, like a black dot. Like a speck. But then it went away. And then the next thing that happened that was interesting was that I saw space as being curved. It was like, but I still was seeing it as a reflection of my vision.
Yes, I could see. You have written to me. I could see.
Yeah, I was wondering about, really during the practice, I was in the beginning thinking, and then I was trying not to think. It's like we're trying to turn our senses way down, but we can't really get rid of them because we're perceiving, our breath.
In the first part of your meditation, your body was totally quiet. Body was steady in the very first part, and then it happens because the mind associates itself with the body, and I believe that let the time come when the moment you transcend the body and the body will not move. Body will not move the moment you transcend the body. And even if the body moves, you remain in that state of mindfulness.
Okay.
So you read my email message, and then I will talk to Sam, Stephen, David and Jerry, that we will all cooperate, and we will definitely like to do something. How Ashokji, how are you? देखो इंजीनियर साहब का ये हाल है.
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Good, sir. Good.
Good.
All good.
Okay.
थोड़ा जल्दी लगा जैसे क्या ना जल्दी से हो गया
बस उतना ही टाइम लिया, 30-35 मिनट लेते हैं, पर बढ़िया हुआ इसका मतलब. यू हैव डन गुड. गुड. सुनीता.
जल्दी से हो गया.
नहीं बढ़िया हुआ. सुनीता कैसे हो? हाउ आर यू सुनीता?
ठीक हूँ सर, लेकिन सबके एक्सपीरियंस करके लगता है मैं सबसे ज्यादा खराब हूँ.
ऐसा नहीं सोचना, पर ये सब 2-3 साल से कर रहे हैं. दे हैव बीन डूइंग ऑलमोस्ट फॉर मोर देन 1 year. So you have restarted the journey. She met me more than 25 years ago, and she returned again. So people going, they say, no, this guy is crazy, leave him. Then they come back again. I have no problem. No, but she has all the way respect for me. अने करते रहो, छोड़ना नहीं, कंपेयर नहीं करना. Shobha, how are you?
फाइन सर.
Fine.
सर कुछ ज्यादा मेडिटेट हो गया अभी, मतलब वापस आने में दिक्कत हो रहा है थोड़ा सा.
Very good. चलो ये भी, that's good. She finds it difficult to return from this meditation. You see, the main point here in this verse is that the mind is flickering, wandering from one state to the other, one person to the other, one thought to the other, one feeling to the other, one object to the other. And from the single object, it still wanders at different things, different shades, different attributes. So if my mind is on the Stephen, then I will say, okay, mind constantly wanders about his t-shirt, about his beard, about his eyes and nose and the way he expresses. The mind is constantly wandering, flickering. So can I live into that extraordinary state of awareness where I see mind, I know you make the things appear, you make the things disappear. I'm not at all attached. I live into that state of dispassion. When we live into that state of dispassion by knowledge in the intellect, non-verbal awareness, I'm already in meditation all the time. What I explained, did it make a sense? Sometime it makes a sense. Okay. Thank you. That is all for today. We'll meet on Monday. अरे मंडे का भी लिंक भेज दूंगा, मंडे को भी करो. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
मंडे का भी लिंक भेज दूंगा. सुनीता मंडे को भी करना. अशोक, हाँ
ठीक है. Thank you.